Around 21,000 years ago, the world tried to kill almost everyone on it. Ice sheets buried entire continents. Temperatures most of us have never experienced, and hopefully never will. No heated homes, no thermal jackets, no emergency services. Just you, your bare hands, and a version of Earth actively trying to freeze you to death. And yet, somehow, a small population of humans not only survived this, they came out the other side smarter, more resourceful, and more advanced than they'd ever been before.
This isn't a story about brute strength. It's a story about a needle. Let's start with the obvious problem: cold. Real, sustained, lethal cold. When early humans first pushed into northern climates around 45,000 years ago, their solution was simple. They draped themselves in loose hides, animal skins thrown over the body like a blanket. It worked, sort of. Loose hides could double as a sleeping bag at night, or padding for the hands while working stone. But loose isn't the same as warm. Gaps let heat escape. Wind got in. For thousands of years, this was the best humanity had. Then, around 30,000 years ago, everything changed because of a single small tool, the needle. This sounds almost too simple to matter, but anthropologists consider it one of the most important inventions in human history. And once you understand why, it's hard to disagree. A needle doesn't just hold fabric together. It allows clothing to be tailored, fitted precisely to an individual body, instead of just draped over it. Once humans could sew, they stopped wearing animal skins. They started wearing clothing.
And what they built with that ability is genuinely impressive. Ice Age tailors layered 3 or 4 different materials together: moisture-wicking underlayers, waterproof outer shells, insulating mid-layers. Not unlike the technical clothing systems hikers use today. They selected specific hides for specific jobs: reindeer for insulation, Arctic fox and hare for finer details, even bird feathers for added warmth. Thread was spun from wild flax fibers, sometimes dyed with natural pigments in colors like turquoise and pink. This wasn't survival clothing in the desperate makeshift sense. This was engineering. But clothing alone doesn't explain everything. You also need somewhere to sleep that isn't actively trying to kill you.
For a long time, historians assumed Ice Age humans lived deep inside caves, hiding from the cold in total darkness. The evidence tells a more interesting story. Most shelter wasn't found in caves at all, but built into natural rock overhangs along riverbeds, then deliberately modified. These weren't passive hiding spots. They were weatherproofed, reinforced, adapted on purpose to block wind and retain warmth. In the warmer months, when groups moved out onto open plains, they built entirely different shelters, dome-shaped huts using a latticework frame made from mammoth bones, layered over with hides or sod. A structure built from the skeleton of one of the largest land animals to ever exist, repurposed into a home.
Now we get to fire, and this is where the story gets genuinely strange. You'd assume fire was simply constant, a non-negotiable part of Ice Age survival, burning around the clock through the coldest months, and for the most part, that's true. Fire wasn't just for warmth. It was used for cooking, for hardening tools, for processing materials, even for social gatherings. The same instinct that much later would shape entire winter solstice traditions across completely different cultures.
But here's the strange part. When scientists specifically examined the very coldest stretch of the Ice Age, the absolute peak of the cold, between roughly 26,500 and 19,000 years ago, well-preserved evidence of fire becomes surprisingly rare. Not absent, just unexpectedly scarce, exactly when you'd expect to find the most of it. Researchers are still investigating why. It might be that freezing and thawing soil destroyed the evidence over time. It might be that fuel became harder to find during the harshest stretches. Or it's possible Ice Age humans had other methods we haven't fully identified yet. Either way, it's a genuine unsolved piece of the puzzle. One more reminder that we're still learning new details about how this all actually worked.
What we do know is that fire, even used carefully and sparingly, was paired with something else: coordinated, intelligent hunting. In one site in eastern France, Ice Age hunters built fires seasonally, every spring and fall, specifically to funnel migrating herds of wild horses and reindeer into a narrow valley. Once trapped there, the animals could be killed efficiently, at close range, and the meat dried and stored to last through the brutal months ahead. This wasn't a one-time trick. Archaeological evidence shows this same coordinated strategy repeated for tens of thousands of years, passed down, refined, and trusted enough to become tradition.
And the tools used to process everything the hunt provided were just as advanced as the clothing and shelter. A specialized stone tool called a burin let early humans carve precise grooves into bone and antler, materials that were lightweight, strong, and easy to carry. This allowed for detachable spear points and harpoon tips, interchangeable pieces that could be swapped, repaired, or upgraded in the field. It's the same basic logic behind a modern multi-tool: separate specialized parts combined into one efficient system.
So when you put it all together, clothing engineered in layers, shelters modified for the season, fire used with real strategic intent, and tools specialized down to the smallest interchangeable piece, a clear picture emerges. Ice Age humans weren't simply enduring the cold through sheer toughness, they were solving it, piece by piece, the same way any engineer solves a hard problem. Identify what's failing, build a better version, test it, improve it again.
The Ice Age didn't make humans tougher, it made them sharper. And maybe that's worth remembering the next time you put on a jacket without thinking about it, or duck into a warm building without a second thought. Every part of that convenience traces back to people who had none of it, who had to invent warmth itself from nothing but hide, bone, fire, and a small sharpened sliver of antler with a hole punched through one end.